Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Objectively Your Sports YouTube show. And I'm John Mauricio. This afternoon, I have one very interesting guest, and I want you guys to listen and listen good. My guest today is no other than Scott Chally, the author of "Do You Believe? Is It Real or Is It Fiction?" Scott, welcome to our show.
Welcome.
All right, what is exactly is the "Do You Believe? Is It Real or Fiction?"
The book starts out basically as a youth growing up well, I was born in Sandwich, Illinois. I grew up in Iowa. There was events in my life as a childhood, and as I went through my life, I experienced different situations that were hard bringings and some good things at times. The thing about it was, when you look at my life and you look at, for instance, God, you'll know and see that He exists in everybody's life. When you look at your surroundings and different things. In the book, I point out different things that have come to me and had addressed to the, when you look at what has come about. In my situation, I had an episode that broke out on me in 2006, which the doctors have kind of put me down as having bipolar affective disorder, schizoaffective disorder, which on my head, I believe it was through the making of the Lord that has caused what instances that has come about. The book is a good read. It talks about when I had the instances, I started a New World policy to make people be able to rejoice and live off of. I didn't complete that until after I finished writing the book, and it came to me in a dream on the 13th of January 2014. It was right after I finished writing the book, and then I put it in the book to where you can sit there and benefit from the ACE services, what I had come up for the world. The ACE services now is a policy which is a one world government, and it's to live for the people for better. You're looking at taking a person, for instance, that lives on the street, or they might be in poverty, and if you sit there and you say, well, I'd like to sit there and give them the cost of living to live off of. And if the government can do that, that would be done for everybody in the world equally the same. And they say, how can that be done? Because you can't just give people money. And the thing is, when you look at the ability on how you go about doing this, you wanna sit there and take the cost of living for everybody that lives all around the United States, the world, different countries, and pay to them. The thing is, we'll be dealing away with federal, state, and local taxes, and insurances would be paid for. Everybody that has ACE services or would sign up for it would be able to live, let's say for instance, in my small town I live back in Iowa, it would probably be about $20,000 a year to live off of. And if you were to receive $20,000 a year to live off of, that's about $1,666 a month. And when you look at $1,666 a month and you take each person into consideration, there won't be nobody starving on the streets, going hungry. Everybody will be taken care of. There won't be no need. You're going to have hospitals and stuff if they're in need of medical attention or so. But when you look at being taken care of, there'll be less violence. There'll be less theft. There'll be just an overall great world where we can sit there and do away with world wars. That when you look at all the countries, it takes the people to sit there and come together and make this happen. You're talking about taking one person's idea, which is me, Scott Chally. And I come through it with the vision and belief and the vibes from God to present the book forward for the people to better mankind. This is the vision of the second coming, what I see for the people to sit there and benefit from. They can sit there and go
Let me
ahead.
ask you a question. You know, you're talking about a small town in Iowa, and aren't we concerned about the total population of the world, which is about 6 billion people, or almost 6 billion people? How are we gonna take care of these 6 billion people?
The beautiful thing about it is ACE Services would have an unlimited amount of money to sit there and dispose of. It's an one world policy, which would be like China, Africa, Russia, Japan, or whoever you sit there and say England or Germany. All these countries would sign up underneath the ACE Services. And then once
I
the
see.
ACE Services got established, there'd be one kitty in the middle. And that can only be addressed through all the people that participate in it. And there'd be the whole world would have to sit there and sign and say, yes, I'd want to live like that. And it would take the people willing and wanting to want this to come forth and say, yes, I can do this, and yes, we can live like this, and yes, we can have that if we push it for rights and rules and laws, and it can come into play. It's just a matter of time and a matter of speaking with the people. With me, I've had episodes since back in 2006. This all started 40 days before Easter 2006, and Easter was the 16th of April. So right around the 5th of March of 2006, I had turned to the Bible and I had asked for help, and I had received it, and it's all in the book. And I had started writing on a new world policy called ACE Services. And then at that time, I had sat there and put it aside. I was lost for years, wondering where and how I'm going to sit there and what I'm going to do. Am I going to be the Antichrist? Am I going to be sitting there not bringing this information to the world and the news and the attention? And I figured one day I sat down. I'm not even very literary as far as writing and stuff, as far as going to school. But according to this book here, I've had a couple good reviews. I've got almost a 4 out of 5, or a 5-star out of 5-star rating on it from one reviewer, and another reviewer gave me an excellent review on it. It speaks for itself. It's a mysterious book. It takes you, there's a couple different paths if you read it for what it's worth. To where you read it today, you can read it to sit there and look at sorrows from other people and come out with problems that you would sit there and reference to. You would it would really when I say you reference to, you look at hard times in your life, and there's a lot of hard times that I had and I put in the book, and it's not so much about my hard times. It's about how you relate with it and how different things could happen, even if this is just in my head as being bipolar. I can only say that I am granted, the ability and specialness with being picked from God, do as I've been told, and did the book and everything at this time to date, to where I have really exceeded my expectation on writing the book of what I did. It's really been out there and it's been great. The books, hearing the feedback from the people reading it and stuff, telling me, yeah, I believe it's an 8 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 book, and they said this has helped their lives out and their stories, and they can look at it. It's got two diagnoses on it. One is that it's possibly that it's true that the chosen one may be speaking through this book for the world to know, or B, it'd be that I have bipolar, and you can look at a situation to where a mental person would go into play, and this is how it happens. But with the truths and stuff that come about in the book, there's different things that you just can't explain, and it makes you wonder. If you like mathematics, there's mathematical problems, and there's a couple things you can solve, and it comes out, and it looks really good that way.
I want you guys to read Leviticus 25 verse 8.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
But most of all, I want you guys to do this. Do you believe? Is it real or is it fiction? Buy this book. Where can they buy this book, Scott?
They can buy that on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Best place to buy it is exlibris.com. That's my website. If you go to my website, it's scottchally.com, and that'll lead you through Exlibris, in which you could buy the book. And that's where it gets the best location to purchase.
Okay, final words for you. Tell the viewing audience what they can expect in 2019.
I see the world to be living in greatness. Mm-hmm. I see the people having hope and desire. There won't be people struggling as bad, or what you'd say on welfare, and not needing of support. I think the world can support itself in this new way of technology and age that we live in. It will be a success.
That's a brighter future than the gloom and doom that we see, that we heard. The prediction not too long ago of apocalypse coming.
The apocalypse, I don't believe, is going to hit us.
Yeah, okay, this is the opposite, and this will be the second coming. And watch, 2019 is not too far off, but get ready. Read a book, and you can buy this thing at the Amazon, or better yet, check his website.
Check the
Again,
website.
thank you so much for sharing your Sunday with us, Scott, and hey, God bless you.
Thank you.
Again, this is Joe Mauricio. Thank you for sharing your Sunday with us, and I hope to see you again next week.